Y'all, my nutrition and fitness coach recommended just 2 things to get the most return for women over 40 or in perimenopause trying to get fit, and they will likely surprise you. If you are anything like me and trying to get back to being fit and fine and looking great in your 40s and having a really hard time dealing with the symptoms of getting older and juggling the myriad of things that we're told to do by fitness experts, you are probably also feeling discouraged and close to giving up. But in this video, I'm going to break down the 2 things she said was most important, as well as her formula for getting fit over 40. If you are interested in that, then you are in the right place, friend. My name is Libria Jones. I am an empty nester navigating life over 40, and that includes focusing on being fit and healthy. And I worked with a nutritionist who taught me a lot, and I'd love to share that with you here. So let's talk about it. Okay, who is my nutrition coach and what the heck did she say? Like, what's these 2 things? First of all, my nutrition coach's name is Netra Shuttleworth. You can find her on Instagram at Nutrition by Netra. She has been doing nutrition and fitness coaching for over 20 years. And she coaches people like you and me, regular folk that just want to be healthy and look pretty good. She also coaches people who are doing fitness competitions, and she's done fitness competitions as well. I mean, she knows what she's talking about. I mean, look at the woman, look at her. So that is Netra. So I recently hosted a live session with her on my Sunday sessions. So I do Sunday sessions every 2 weeks, and I hosted Netra to talk about fitness over 40 because it's a concern for a lot of us. And it's 2 hours long, which is why I'm doing this video. This video is a bit of a summary. I just wanted to give you like the major hard-hitting gems out of it, but she dropped a lot. So feel free to watch the full video after this one. Here's the 2 things she said. At the end of that interview, my last question to her was, if we could only change 2 habits in the next 30 days, what should those habits be? Because I happen to know, like every time we talk about how to get fit over 40, there's like a myriad of things people are telling us to do. There's this long list of things people are telling us to do, right? And I was like, if we can't change everything, but we can only change 2 things in the next 30 days, what should they be? She said, and this is good, I feel like this is surprising. She said, sleep. She said, get quality sleep. And she said, 10,000 steps a day. I know everybody thinks she's going to say food or lifting weights. I expected her to say protein and weightlifting. That's honestly what I expected her to say. But she was like, the 2 main things are getting enough quality sleep, the keywords there being enough and quality, and then 10,000 steps a day, being active every single day. So those are the 2 things that she said. Now let's talk about why those are most important. And I'm going to cut in a few of the clips from the video as well in this conversation, because I want you to hear it from her mouth directly. I'll summarize a few of it, but I want you to hear it from her because, again, she's the expert here. She talked about quality sleep first. Like, sleep was the very first thing that she mentioned. Actually, I'm going to cut to exactly what she said. Check this out.
2 things, biggest bang for your buck. My number 1 is going to be, you got to sleep. That is number 1. Biggest bang for your buck. And so you got to at least give me a quality 5. Can we at least get a quality 5? And some of y'all can I at least get a quality 4? And what quality 4 means is that you did not wake up. Not one time.
I'm glad you said that.
One time. Because you could tell me, well, I sleep for 7 hours, but you woke up 3 times. No, that's not quality sleep then. We didn't get it.
I got to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. But I love that you just said quality 4 or 5, because everybody's like, get 8 hours of sleep. And I feel like, you guys let me know, am I crazy? But I feel like a lot of us, if we can't hit whatever the goal is that people are telling us, if I can't hit 8, I'm just not going to try. If I can't do it, why try? Why bother?
Yes.
And so you're like, here's a starting point. Yes. Just give me this. And that feels a lot better than, I'm not about to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm just not. You remember that night I tried? You remember them 2 nights I tried? And I was like, this was a horrible experience.
Listen, and here's what I'll tell you. The majority of people, they're not anywhere near 8. So me badgering you about 8 is not helpful because you're so far away. You're not even at 3. How are we going to get to 8?
Baby,
we're not there.
Give me something. Give me a
you're nowhere near there. So we got a glide path right? We got a glide path in. So Eileen, my watch lets me know how terrible I sleep, but I'm slowly getting close to 8. Oh, fantastic. 8 hours has always been more than enough. If I can get at least a quality 5, I feel good. Yes. And so here's what I tell you. Studies may show, right? Studies may show that a solid 7 or 8 is best. But I also know that in real life, right? Not in a bubble, not people who living in a bubble, but people who working. We're professionals. We got families. We got a lot going on. I know that for most of you, 8 hours is nowhere near realistic for you at all. It's not really where you are. So if we can get a quality 5, that is very solid. And if you are not even at 3, then can I at least get a quality 4? Approaching a quality 5 that you did not wake up. And I mean, we didn't wake up to pee. We didn't wake up because I looked at the alarm clock. Like a quality 5. I went to sleep soundly, and then I woke up 5 hours later. That's number 1. I want you to do that.
Okay.
Number
so one of the 2 things that we got to do in 30 days.
Yes.
Quality sleep.
Yes.
You know, she also talked about how being active on a daily basis and being intentional about getting all your steps in will help you live longer. I know a lot of us are trying to look good, but we cannot forget that we also want to be healthy for a long period of time. And one of the things that I loved or hated, maybe hated, but appreciated, how about that, is that she also pointed out that if being active is part of your day-to-day life, like let's say you're a nurse, you walk or a teacher and you walk around a lot for a living, that don't count towards your steps. She definitely called somebody out. Anyway, let's cut to the part where she talks about 10,000 steps and why that's important, and how she also said if you already walk in for a living, that don't really count, boo. Check that out.
I need you to improve your daily step count.
Why are you calling me out?
Listen, because let me say this. What I know for sure is that one of the largest concerns with people is managing their weight. The food will get in line. Like it will, even though it may be the harder item for you. But sometimes the unknown is you think just because you exercise that you have enough activity. Many of you just don't. Your step count is so low during the day, or you're saying, well, while I was working out, I did this, right? But the fact is you sit for 14 hours a day. That means your activity is low. There's no way around you telling me it's not. It is. Okay. And so it means if you can do those 2 things, I want you to improve your step count. Take any of your training schedule out of it, right? Take your lifting weights, take your cardio day. Like if you went to the gym and all you did was cardio at that moment and you did 30 minutes, whatever you do, take that out of the step count. I want you to improve that step count to at least, hear me, at least get to 6,000 steps a day outside of the training and the cardio day. This is extra stuff, right? And in reality, Libria knows that I'm really going to tell you, you need to get let's try to get closer to 8, 9, 10. But if you're not even at 6, then we are so far under, you're not going to be active. That's not considered an active person. It's considered a very sedentary person. Even though you feel like I exercise 5 days a week, but the fact is that is an hour or 2 of your time. That is not real active. That's not the rest of your activity. So we got to get you out of these chairs and we got to bump that step count up. And you will find that those 2 things, manage the sleep, pay attention, get that right now. And number 2, improve your step count like tomorrow. Because those are 2 things you can do right now.
How you gonna come on my channel and attack me though?
Listen, I see it. Lakeisha says
I feel attacked. How you gonna come here and attack me?
Listen, and Eileen says
cool.
I barely.
How you gonna
listen? So wait, Karen says I need to up my steps. I get at least 15,000. So Karen doesn't need to up her steps unless Karen, you're a nurse or something like that. If it's your activity, I need to add exercise. Oh, look. Karen just put a whole new thing. Oh my, am I so nervous right now and feel exposed? That means, Karen, it may be your profession. Is that something like that? Like you're just getting 15,000, but it's not real. It's not exercise. Karen didn't expose.
Like I said, she's perceptive. I did tell you guys.
You got to get it because Karen eat good. I've already seen it. Karen's eating pretty well. There could be something off. I don't know, but Karen's eating pretty well. But I think Karen's saying she don't exercise.
Okay, so
Well, we got the steps.
She got to get the steps, for real. So yeah, I will tell you, like, I remember the first time I hit 10,000 steps in a day, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, look, teacher, look what I did!" And she was like, "Is part of that like you going to the gym?"
I love it, Karen.
Take that out. I was like,
yeah, take that out.
No, I hit the number. She was like, "No, I need you to hit about 12,000." No. I was like, "No. You're doing the most." Anyway, we've been on here for 2 hours having a great
hold on.
time.
I gotta say it. Wait, I gotta say it. So first of all, I know because these last comments, Ebony, yes, you got to stand up from that desk. I have to say it. And then Karen, yes, Karen is walking all day, but I'm sure that it is your profession. Something is getting you there, but we gotta find steps outside of the profession. So that is actual exercise and activity, because I will give y'all, this is a real example, because many of my ladies, these are your professions. We're teachers, principals, assistant principals, nurses, doctors. You guys are walking all the time and we think that's your exercise. It doesn't count. Y'all, please tell me, like, that's how you can see somebody who is close to 300 pounds, but they're a teacher. They walk every day, all the time.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything. It's like, that's just your day. That just happens to be your day. It's not special. That is just what you do. Yeah. Right. That's just the same way, like we see the construction worker who is very heavy construction worker. And you're like, God, I don't even understand. They work on the heat. How come they're not smaller? Because it's just what they do.
It's just what they do. So Karen, you right along with us, boo. We all up in our steps. Like, you still on the same program we
Karen eat good though. Okay. Karen work at the airport. Yeah, you walking constantly.
Now, I know a lot of people are interested in or getting into things that are, I don't want to say trendy, because they've been around for a long time and I don't want to trivialize what they are. But a lot of people are getting into things like intermittent fasting and keto as a way to get them closer to their goal a lot faster. And what I love about Coach Netra is she doesn't necessarily flat out say you should never do these things. You should never do intermittent fasting. You should never do keto. What I love about having conversations with her is what she's going to do is tell you what the implications of those things are, give you the information, and let you make a decision. For instance, intermittent fasting. A lot of people love to do intermittent fasting and it's been effective for them. Well, part of it is because they're cutting their calories. One of the things that Netra is always going to point out is that regardless of what you're doing, your body needs calories and your body needs nutrients to sustain itself. So this goes back to, maybe you want to look a certain way, but you also want to be healthy. And so one of the things that she has always called out is that if you're doing intermittent fasting, you are really just limiting the amount of time that you give yourself to get your caloric intake and also give your body all of the nutrients, the macronutrients that it needs, including protein, carbs, and fat. So you're just limiting the time that you're able to do that. But she went into detail about intermittent fasting and also how she recommends people do intermittent fasting. So another thing that she and I talk about are health goals versus vanity goals, right? And so one of the things that she asked me when we were working together, and I told her that I was just really frustrated about kind of where I was with my goals. And she was like, we had this really good come to Jesus conversation. And I was, again, very, very frustrated with where I was. I felt like I was doing all the right things. But my frustration was I didn't feel like, why do I have to be so consistent all the time? Like, why do I have to be, 90 to 100% of the checklist all the time? Why can't I have 2 weeks where I'm just at 75%? Well, I got to be all the way up here. Why can't I be like I'm not down here. I'm like right here. Like, I can't let up at all. And so she asked me, she was like, well, do you have health goals or do you have vanity goals or do you have both? Because those are very different, right? So health goals, it doesn't necessarily matter how you look if you're healthy. And she was like, and the truth is, Libria, you're healthy, right? The truth is you are a healthy person. For the most part, you eat relatively healthy. You're active, you work out every day, you drink water. You're not necessarily doing all the things that are going to get you to a vanity goal, but you are a healthy person. So you could just keep doing what you're doing and you'll be fine. And, but if you have a vanity goal on top of your healthy goal, right? Actually, let me break it down this way. You can be healthy but you may not look the way you want to look. You can look the way you want to look and not be healthy. And one of the examples that I love of this is Zac Efron looked amazing in Baywatch. That man looked so good in Baywatch. It was like he looked really good in Baywatch. But I read an article where he talked about how unhealthy he was. He was so unhealthy. He said he didn't feel good. He wasn't eating well. He was just focused on looking good, and that was it. And he was superbly unhealthy. And he said he never wants to look like that again, if that's what it takes. So, like I said, sometimes health and vanity goals are not aligned. Maybe you want to be healthy, but you're not going to look the way you want as quickly as you want to. Well, maybe you have a vanity goal, right? But if you want to do that quickly, you're not going to be healthy. If you have a health and a vanity goal, if you want to be healthy, if you want to look a certain way and you want to be healthy getting there, then it's probably going to take some time. And I will tell you, when I first started working with her, I think I said from a place of like trying to be humble that, oh no, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be long term. I want to be a healthy woman. I'm thinking about my 80-year-old self. I want her to be healthy. And she was like, and I showed her a picture of how I used to look. And I was like, I don't necessarily need to look like that anymore. And she was like, why do you think you can't? She was like, I think you do want to look like that. I think you just are afraid to say it because you're afraid that you can't have it. When I tell you I almost broke down because she was right. She was so right. I assumed that I can't have that anymore. I actually didn't say it out loud that I would love to look like that again because I feel like I'm not allowed to want that. We get to this age and the people are just telling us, you know, this is what we just have to deal with. Like, this is our life now. We got to let the past go. And I'm not necessarily saying I want to look exactly like I did when I was in my 30s. I definitely don't need to look like I did in my 20s. But I would love to look like the healthiest and fittest version of me that I can look like right now. I would love to explore what if I took that 30-year-old picture I think I was 33 or 34 at the time, if I could take that picture of myself and extrapolate it to, 46-year-old me, what does that version of me look like at 46? That's what I want to see. And I feel like I just wasn't allowed to say that out loud. Like, I'm not allowed to want that. I am supposed to I don't know what I'm supposed to want. I'm supposed to be letting it go. And she was like, you could look like that again. I know a lot of people your age that look that way. In fact, she looks that way. So I was like, well, since we're talking about it, I am a vain person. Like, I have a vanity goal. I do have a vanity goal. I'm going to say it loud and say it proud. I have a vanity goal. I want to be fine as hell. I want to be fine as hell. I want to be toned. I've always valued having muscles. I have always valued being toned, and I've always valued being lean because that was my body type most of my life. And so I am still holding on to that. Yes. And I am a little bit tired of telling people I need to let it go. I don't, because it's still possible. It's still available to me as long as I'm willing to put in the work. So speaking of that, here are the habits that I am focused on trying to be sustainable. One of the things I love about working with Netra is that we talk a lot about sustainable habits. We don't talk about doing short-term things. And so if I can go back to using intermittent fasting as an example, a lot of people suggested to me when I shared these frustrations on social media and especially on Instagram that I just do intermittent fasting because it's worked so well for them and it's worked so quickly for them. And I have done it before. I've done intermittent fasting more than once. So I can tell you it does work quickly. It absolutely does. I have seen results from intermittent fasting. But what I am focused on are sustainable habits that I'm going to be doing for the next 5 years or so. I want to do things that I am going to keep doing. I am not going to keep intermittent fasting. It's just not something I'm interested in doing long term. If I did that, it would be for maybe a month or two so that I can hit a certain goal. Because a lot of us, that's what we're doing. We're trying to lose X number of pounds by our birthday or by homecoming. Like, we want to be fine before homecoming or by the end of the year, right? And so I am trying to think about removing the time constraint and focusing more on making these habits my everyday life, so that when I look up 5 years from now, I am not only fit and lean and muscular, but I am also healthy, and I'm maintaining both of those things in a very sustainable way. So here's what I am focused on that I have learned from Coach Netra. One, hitting my macros. So hold on, let me pull out my phone so I can tell you what my macros are, because I don't remember off the top of my head. I just remember my protein being crazy. Y'all, trying to hit this protein goal is a feat. Okay, so here are my macros. My macros are 120 grams of carbs every day, 52 grams of fat, which is not a lot of fat, and 156 grams of protein, which is a lot of protein. So I am focused on trying to hit those macros every day. Now, long term, sustainably, I'm not going to be measuring and counting macros and calories and things like that. I just want to get really good at understanding how to gauge those things throughout the day, right? And in my meal plan, and making sure that I know like how my body feels when I haven't gotten enough protein or enough carbs and things like that. And I can eyeball it and be like, I had like 3 fats at breakfast. I'm gonna lay off the fats a little bit at lunch and eat something really, low in fat for dinner, right? So I just want to get really good at understanding my macros and just being really good at hitting them. Taking my vitamin D, a lot of us are vitamin D deficient. Now, I'm not telling you to go run out and take some vitamin D. I have gotten blood work done, so I know for a fact that I am vitamin D deficient, and a doctor has told me this, and it showed up in my labs. And so taking vitamin D is important because it actually helps with a lot of the things that I'm trying to address. Number one, it helps with bone health, right? Because, as women get older, we start to lose bone mass, or our bones become a lot more brittle. Also, having healthy bones means that I can do these workouts and lift these heavy weights and not get injured or hurt myself. So vitamin D helps improve muscle capacity, improve your bones. So it's easier to work out, right? It makes it easier for you to work out. The other thing that vitamin D has been known to do is help with cell growth. Also has been found to be associated with fat cell management as well as metabolism management also. And so I have been focusing on taking vitamin D. My nutrition coach actually recommended some vitamin D to me. I will pop it up on the screen right here. I don't remember what the grams are right now, but it'll be popped up on the screen. And then I will also link it below in the description box if you'd like to purchase some. But make sure that you talk to your doctor and ensure that you are in need of vitamin D. I mean, we're all in need of vitamin D, aren't we? Anyway. The other sustainable habit I am focused on is lifting weights. Lifting weights is so important. It is so very important, especially for women over 40. I have been lifting weights since high school, really. I love lifting weights. I've always loved lifting weights. And I remember when I was in my 30s getting really, really in good shape. I wanted to compete. I used to want to compete as a bodybuilder. My cousin actually does compete as a bodybuilder. Let me rephrase that. I wanted to compete in bikini. She used to do bikini, and now she does bodybuilding. So like she's huge. But bodybuilding has always been a part of my life. My parents used to go to bodybuilding competitions. So we've always been like a weightlifting family. So it's something that I've always done. And it's so funny because when I was in my 30s, so many women would be like, oh, you're going to look like a man. And now so many women in their 40s are like, I'm about to start lifting weights because it is so important. A lot of women used to focus on cardio, right? So when we were younger, a lot of women were focusing on getting cardio, getting the fat off. Well, us older women, once we get over 40, what's most important is that we focus on not losing muscle mass, right? And maintaining our muscle mass, either not losing or building or maintaining muscle mass. So if you already have pretty good muscle mass, the goal is to maintain it. If you don't have it, you want to build it. And none of us needs to lose it, basically. And as we get even older, it's going to be even more important because that's what's going to keep us mobile. That's going to give us our ability to pick things up and pick ourselves up. That's also what's going to keep us from being injured. If our muscles are strong, that is the thing that is going to keep us from being injured. And if you follow Dr. Marie Haver, Marie Claire Haver, who wrote the new menopause book. If you follow her at all, she talks a lot about how women, once they hit menopause and lose muscle mass and start getting injured, a lot of times that is where their quality of life and their health starts to decline significantly. So it is so important for the longevity of our lives, aside from just wanting to be fine. It is also important for the longevity of our lives that we have strong muscles, ladies. So lifting weights is definitely one of the sustainable habits that I am focused on. Plus, it's my happy place. And then getting enough sleep. I personally do not sleep enough. It feels like enough to me because I can function. But one of the things I have to push back on is that we women, one of the things that we do is we accept things and we're like, no, it's fine, because it's just the way that it's always been. I've always been able to focus on a little bit of sleep, so then there's nothing wrong with it. Well, that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it okay. And that doesn't make it healthy just because I can function. How much better would I function if I got enough sleep? So part of my challenge is that I have a productivity kick around 7 or 8 o'clock. I have a huge productivity kick. So my productivity hours, my best productive hours are from 6 to about 11. And then again, about 7 to midnight-ish. That's when my brain is firing. Like I'm good. I can kill stuff. I can knock stuff out. In between that, it's up and down. It's like, in the middle, and then there's a dip, and then it's back in the middle. But like on those two bookends of the day, like at the very beginning of the day and the very end of the day, my productivity, my brain is firing. And so that's part of my challenge. I will go to sleep really late, and my natural alarm clock is waking me up at anywhere between 5 and 6:30. I rarely sleep but past 6:30, no matter what time I go to bed. I can go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm waking up at 6:30. The best I can do is 7. Sleeping until 8 is sleeping in for me. So yeah. And I actually tried to get 8 hours of sleep twice. I went to bed early enough that if I fell asleep, I could be asleep for 8 full hours. It was a horrible experience. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. So I have been focused on trying to get at least 5 to 7 hours of sleep. I actually work pretty well on 5 to 6 quality hours of sleep. So I am trying my best to get that. And what I think that looks like, I know a lot of people say like, I wake up in the middle of the night, and here's once again where I think that we've accepted it as a norm versus questioning why that happens and trying to go figure it out. I wake up in the middle of the night. Okay, but well, why? Do we need better mattresses? Do we need a better pillow? Do we need to stop drinking water after a certain time of day? Do we need to make sure we don't have devices on or the television on? So I really think that when we just offhandedly say, well, I can't do this because of XYZ, and that's just the way it is, let's question the way it is. Like, why is it that way actually? Maybe I should look into this. I will say that when I was in my place in Tulsa, when I actually, had a stable home to sleep in every night, I had invested in my sleep by a few things. One, starting a wind down routine where, my little watch would go off and say, hey, here's your bedtime reminder. And so here's where I'm going to go ahead and take a shower, do my skincare, journal. And then I also would, light candles and like set the mood for myself, because I'm special. Why not set the mood for me? But the other thing was I invested in a really good bed. I bought a Sleep Number bed that I absolutely love, and I miss it. It's in storage right now. And then I also bought a really good pillow. I bought good sheets. I bought good, comfortable sheets. I bought some bamboo sheets from, what is the name of that company? Brooklinen. I bought really nice sheets from Brooklinen. And then I bought a really good pillow. And this pillow was very ergonomic. And when I tell you, like, my sleep game shot through the roof. And here's how I know. My bed actually monitored my sleep on an app, and it would tell me how many hours I got of restful sleep. it would tell me how much time I was tossing and turning. It would log if I got up out of the bed at any point. It would log like when I got in the bed, when I fell asleep versus when I woke up and then got out of the bed. Like it would monitor all that. And I would watch it and see what my score was. And I was shooting for like a B and above. So, 80 and above is what I was shooting for. And so that really did help my sleep a lot. I will link all of that in the description box, the bed, the pillow, the sheets. Yeah, I'll link all that in the description box if that's something that you want to look into. And I do love the pillow. Let me tell you about the pillow. If you don't do anything else, get the pillow. Now, I will say when I first started sleeping with the pillow, like the first 2 nights with the pillow was very weird and my neck and back were hurting. But after a while, like I really wish there was room in this suitcase for this pillow to travel with me wherever I go. Because when I'm away from this pillow, I do not sleep as well. And I was dating this guy who was an ex-NFL player. And if you know anything about football, those guys' bodies get beat up. And whenever I was spending the night at his house, he would toss and turn all night long. And he would be in so much pain. And I recommended he get the pillow. He got the pillow and he loves it. Like he was like, I sleep so much better. I have a lot less pain. My sister also got the pillow. She loves it. She has back problems as well. And I think I have 2 other friends that got the pillow and all said that they really liked it. So if you don't do nothing else, get the pillow. Let's get some good sleep. The other thing that is on my sustainable habits checklist is exactly what she said, hit 10,000 steps a day. I am really working on this. This has been a challenge for me. One of the things that I've been trying to do is taking some time in the evening, like around 5 or 6, to go for a walk or get on my Peloton. And you don't have to literally do 10,000 steps. One of the things that Netra shared a long time ago was things that convert to steps. So if you do a bike or you jump rope or something like that, how you can convert those to steps. You can also Google things that you can convert to 10,000 steps or 5,000 steps or however many you need. And then, I just try to do little things like get up throughout the day. And when I'm going to the bathroom, go to the one that's the farthest away in the house and stuff like that. I'm actually thinking about, okay, this might be extra. I might be taking this too far. But if you guys have seen the TikToks or Facebook reels with this lady who lost a bunch of weight on one of those little stepper things and she just like going on that stepper. She's like going on that stepper. I was thinking about getting one of those and just like being on it while I watch a show. I know a lot of people do the step pads that they put under their desk and they just kind of walk those things while they work. That's another way to get your 10,000 steps in. But I love doing it outside though. It's my favorite thing to just go for a walk. And I will tell you, Netra was like, this is not a leisurely stroll. Like it's not cardio, right? So we're not trying to be in the cardio zone, but it's also not like a leisurely stroll. You want to have slightly elevated heart rate. I think you want to be at like, 75% of your max or something like that. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But you need to have a steady, it's a steady pace, that steady and sustainable pace, but it does need to be slightly elevated. So that is something I'm focused on, just trying to figure out how to incorporate that into my life as well. And then the last one is she recommended a supplement to me. Actually, let me find this supplement. I do not remember what it was, but I am going to ask her and I'll have an answer by the time I edit this video. So I will put it right here and I'll put the name of it on the screen as well. I don't remember what it was. I tried to look it up, but I cannot find it. Anyway, it popped into my head as I was putting down my notes for this video. I do want to look into that. She said it could help a lot in making all of the other things that I'm doing a lot more effective. So I'm going to check that out as well. So that's going to be part of my healthy, sustainable habits. Now, one of the things that Netra said is the biggest problem that a lot of us have, or the biggest mistake a lot of us have, is not giving it enough time. That is absolutely my problem. I want results now. I want them in a week. I'm the girl that's going to do the sit-ups and then go straight to the mirror and lift up my shirt like where my abs at. Like that's me. And so I think a lot of times we're like, I'm going to do a challenge for 10 weeks, or I'm going to do this for 12 weeks. And you expect to have reached the goal in that 12 weeks when none of this is about time boxing. And all of this is about a sustainable, healthy life. And if you do that long enough, you're going to get to looking the way that you want to look, right? And so, of course, there are ways to accelerate it, right? There are things you can do to accelerate that, which is intermittent fasting, keto, fasting, starving yourself, taking weight loss meds. There's a lot of things that you can do to get there faster, but that is going to require you to focus even more on being healthy, right? And you run the risk of, if you stop any of those things, then you're right back where you started, right? And so I think the biggest mistake that I make, and what Netra said was one of the biggest mistakes that we all make, is just not giving ourselves enough time. And in fact, not thinking about this as a time box, but just thinking about this as, changing how we live. So that said, there's a few factors that come into play when you're trying to be healthy and fit, but there are two things that are most important that Netra called out to start now. If you were only going to change two things in the next 30 days, those are the two most important. Get enough sleep and get enough steps in, get enough activity in. And on top of that, I am personally just focused on the habits that are going to be healthy and sustainable for the next 5 years or even longer than that. I only say 5 years because who knows what will change about me and about medicine and about healthcare. But I do want to do things that are sustainable and healthy for the long run. So I just summarized a lot of the things that we talked about in my interview with Netra. That interview was 2 hours long, but she dropped a lot of gems, and we had a really great conversation and a fun conversation, and answered some questions from viewers and everything like that. So if you want to check that out, if you've got time to check that out, you can listen to it on your commute or while you cook or while you're in the gym or whatever. If you want to check that out, I will link it up here. It will also be in the description box. In the meantime, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.